This is Sneaker Gears. My name is Levi, and welcome to a Performance Gears episode where today we're doing a performance preview on what is possibly going to be the best performance sneaker of 2020. And in a time like these where a lot of us are at stay-at-home protocol, if you're watching this in the future, the coronavirus is upon us. Many nations in the USA, I think, have the most cases in the world. It's tough to think about being able to go back to the courts again, and I'm excited for that day, and this shoe is helping out. The long-awaited KD13. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe down below and feel free to give a thumbs up if you like that video and when it's done. The KD13. Now, the shoe has been released already in the greater China area. Sneaker Highway 23, I believe, or just Sneaker Highway on Instagram. He has had his hands on it. I don't know if he personally has bought it, and he's already confirmed a few details, some close-up shots. But the KD13 is following what I believe is the absolute best cushion ever on a shoe. Now, that doesn't mean it's the highest cushion, doesn't mean it's the best court feel, just the best all around from the KD12. So it has a lot to live up to, but I'm going to say this. One of the best sneakers of all time was the Kobe 9. If you guys remember, the Kobe 9 came after Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles. And I think we're in for that kind of magic here, where obviously we never want to see a player go down. But after KD hurt his Achilles, they want to give him the best shoe possible, and I think that's what we're going to see. So as always, let's start with what we can expect for the fit. So starting with just the materials alone, the closest shoe that I see that has a similarity is going to be your Jordan 34. And if you can see here, we'll get some detail shots, has the same kind of square lines, has a little bit stretchiness to it, and if you notice, the same thing in the KD12, it had some give. Overall, the KD12 with the KD10, 9, and 8 all ran narrow, and I'm hoping the material has some give, so if you go up half a size, you're going to be okay. But according to Sneaker Highway, he did say it is a narrow running shoe, and he doesn't recommend it for wide footers. Obviously, I'm still looking to put my order in. I will be going with my size 13, which I have been in a majority of KDs. And overall, his shoes have been narrow. Now, if you've had a chance to see his feet in any photos, KD does have very long, I believe size 17, and very narrow feet. So his shoes generally do run narrow. So if you do have a narrow foot, you're all good. If you have a wide footer, it's something like the KD12. If you had a wide midfoot, you are good. But if you had a wide toe box, you'll notice these kind of teeth that came up here that really greatly helped with the lateral containment, really made these almost impossible for those with wide toe boxes to really enjoy it. Now, going with the rest of the foot, what looks like the KD13, it doesn't have any rubber really coming up like this does. Instead, it has kind of a rand, which is very translucent, like on the Jordan 34. That's going to help a little bit with containment, as well as they're hoping the structure of the shoe and the materials itself is going to aid in that containment. So at least it's going to be uniform. You're not going to have any plastic, any rubber coming in the way if you do have a wide toe box. Now, as for the instep and the ankle, unlike what we had with the KD9, where there was no tongue, and the KD10, and the KD11, and actually going back, I think even the KD8 Elite kind of started that. The KD12 did bring with it a traditional tongue, and I'm happy that the KD13 is going to have more of a normal tongue and a normal kind of fit. So if you have a thicker ankle or if you have a high instep, you're going to be just fine. Same thing if you do wear an ankle brace. It's something that is going to be able to accommodate you. So I'm going to tell people, and this is my rule of thumb, I don't think you can take it as just absolute fact. I always go with that 12.5 or with a 13, which I know it may be a little bit bigger if they do run true to size, and I'm a 12 wide or 12.5. I'll go with a 13 simply because I know I can wear 2 socks. I know generally I can torque down the shoe, and I can still enjoy it. If you go too small, you can't even wear it. Now, working our way down to support is really 3 things combined. One, you have the stability of a shoe, which is how flat, how stable is it, how does it make you feel. You have the containment of the shoe, which has to do with the materials. And three, kind of flows into the lockdown, how the shoe actually holds your foot into place. Well, the first thing people look at in a shoe like this, if it's a high, it's a mid, it's a low. And the first shoe that came to mind is, it looks really similar to what we had in the Kobe 80 mid, which is actually not too far off from what we had the KD12. Now the KD12 is a little bit higher. I don't know if you guys can tell there. So I believe it is going to run maybe a little more of that mid cut, whereas that was slightly higher than the mid. And another aspect that's going to help a little bit with containment, but the reason for that are those winglets coming through right here. If you take a look, that is what really is going to draw you back into the heel of the shoe, allowing that heel cup to really work and feel more secure. The most recent shoe that has that was the Why Not 2 SEs. They did away with having that entire back half of the shoe hold you in and really just gave you the winglet that pulled you back, and might I say very successfully. They were able to remove one of the 3 heel cups to this, add the winglet where it pulls you back and allows that heel cup to do its job like it was intended. So I think lockdown is going to be great on this. People are going to feel more secure. And the second aspect that people really had issues with were the stability of the shoe, or lack thereof. The KD12, if you take a look at it, had for the most part a very rounded outsole. So it did help for feeling a little bit quicker. You're able to kind of toe off very easily if you do any toe drags. But at the same time, it really felt like it was easy to roll your ankle in this. And it didn't offer a lot of stability. And in turn, wasn't something that you were very confident in. If you had ankle issues, you put this on, it wasn't something that was inherently making you feel better, like the shoe has you locked in. Now, to that, I would say, I never had an issue with this. My ankles are not necessarily weak, but it's definitely an issue I can completely understand. The KD13 does look like they did give a little bit more flatness to it, which has been Nike's trend. Nike and Jordan Brand have been making most of their shoes really flat with no rounded edges. So this is the Jordan 34, kind of giving you an idea. I still think it has a little bit of a roundness to it, but that actually reminds me of what we did with the PG3. The PG3 was probably the most flat version of the PG line from the 1 and the 2, but still had a little bit of rounded edge to it. So it was a nice compromise, and I'm glad they're bringing that to the KD13. Finally is going to be containment. Just looking over the shoe, there's no actual stiff materials or structure holding you in. It's really going to be how it fits, how the laces are locking you in, and how that material is going to give or not give. How strong is it? So we're not going to know how much containment it's going to have until we play in it. But overall, the KD line, with the KD11 being the least supportive shoe I've ever played in, they really made big strides with the KD12, where it was better in every way, wasn't super supportive, but did a good enough job. And I think that's what Nike and Jordan Brand have been doing. They want to make shoes that are lightweight, have great cushion, and something like this in the Jordan 34, but you have just enough support where you learn to trust the shoe and it does the job. They're not looking to go all out like they have with something like the Zoom Rise or the Why Not 2. And if you do need something really supportive, then obviously there's other things you can look at. But having just enough, I think, is the right call. All right, this is what you came for. The cushion. The cushion. All right, Nike has been really weird with their marketing. Usually they do a great job as far as giving things names and sticking with their ZoomX foam, with their obviously Zoom Air, Max Zoom. And they went with Zoom Strobel, which is really just calling something what it is, and they replaced the Strobel board with a Zoom Air unit. This year, they're not even calling it Zoom Strobel. They're just calling it a Zoom Air bag that has been articulated and sewn to the upper. Really, Nike? Come on. I'm calling it full-length Zoom Turbo. Now, Zoom Turbo came from the articulation of a Zoom bag that was initially launched on the Kyrie 5. We got it on the Kyrie 6, and it really is a full-length articulated Zoom bag. Now, in the case of the KD versus the Kyrie, this is closer to your foot. Now, the magic wasn't just that full-length Zoom Turbo, which we're still getting back, and I am super excited. That allowed the shoe to feel bouncy. It felt close to your foot. They allowed the shoe to be closer to the ground, where you didn't have to have a huge stack higher to this giant air bubble to achieve that max cushion. So you're able to keep it somewhat lightweight, keep it flexible, have court feel, and just aid it to one of the best cushions ever. Now, what they changed is for the KD12, and I'll zoom in here, you guys can actually barely see here, they put a double stacked heel zoom for the KD12, because in the old days, last year, it was thought you wanted more cushion in the heel. But as we're seeing lately for most brands, especially Jordan, which has gone all forefoot cushion, you land on your forefoot, you run on your forefoot, and the reason they say you catch somebody on their heels, we shouldn't be on our heels. Now, I can say after playing a few hours and getting tired, I would land on my heel, and the heel cushion did feel great. But having it double stacked in the forefoot, that's what it's all about. We're going to get a full bouncy cushion, just like we had with this Zoom Max Behemoth, where you had that massive bounce from the KD9. I think that's what we're going to be getting. Same thing with that massive bounce from what we're getting here in the Jordan 34. You're going to have a shoe that's going to have unbelievable transition heel to toe, where you have that a complete full length zoom. Whether you land on your midfoot, land on your forefoot, you're covered, and where you need it most, you're getting double the impact protection. Now, what I'm worried about and hasn't been clarified is, I think the magic of engineering that made the KD12 so impressive, and you can see maybe a little bit here, are these holes. So coring out the midsole allowed it to feel a lot lighter, feel more flexible, and more importantly, allowed that Zoom airbag to actually reflect and contract, so it gave that Zoom Air a chance to move with your foot. So it felt bouncier. If they don't give it that holes, if they don't give it that chance to move, it's probably going to feel more like the KD11, where that had full length zoom, but it was in a React foam, and we all thought it was going to be amazing. And that was more of a plush ride. It felt good, but all in all, this wasn't a fantastically cushioned shoe. There's no flex to this shoe. It's bottom heavy, and although comfortable, and to me it felt like almost wearing a super comfortable sandal, because there's just nothing to the upper, this gave me plantar fasciitis all the time because it was so rigid. Looking at this and then looking at the KD13, I'm seeing a little bit similarities, where you have a little bit of that protection here that would help with lateral containment, but obviously not enough. You have the same kind of rubber outsole protecting that full length zoom, and then you have that double stacked. And same thing, talking about support, you have that similar kind of see-through shank here that acts as a shank plate for torsional rigidity. This was not a banger. This was not a great shoe, although it's a shoe I enjoy and there's a lot to like about it. But the cushion should be amazing, and it's coming off one of the best cushion setups ever. So here's hoping Nike did it right. And finally, the traction. Now, as Nightwing says, you can have the best shoe in the world, but if it doesn't stick to the court, if you don't have great traction, it's all for naught. Doesn't matter. The traction of the KD13 looks like the PG3. And if you guys haven't noticed, the PG3 is one of the best traction shoes ever. This is top 3, top 5, wherever you want to put it. Unbelievable. Rubber is firm. Rubber is deep. It's something you can use off court, as far as casually you can use outside, and it's going to give you a decent amount of wear just because it is a firm rubber. But this thing, if it's anything like this, and this is what it looks like to derive from, we're talking about a shoe that has heritage from a premier traction shoe, heritage from one of the best cushion ever. Those are two key factors. If this shoe can grip and this shoe is as comfortable as it should be, I'll make it fit. I'm going to shove it on my foot, even though I have a wide foot. It's something where I hope it fits. Obviously, the fit makes or break a shoe. Unlike Nightwing, I say the most important part of the shoe is the fit. But I'm not going to argue with him. Even if you have a great fit and then now you have terrible traction, you can't play with the shoe either. For me, if you have great traction and great cushion and the shoe doesn't really fit you, you can enjoy it partially, but you really can't enjoy it. So, you know, tomato, tomato. The biggest thing is going to be, is this shoe going to fit you? And I hopefully going to put the order in. You guys, if you're getting yours, you're excited as I am. We can at least try it on and do some dribbling sessions at home. If you have a backdoor hoop, put some shots up, and I can't wait to see people in Chicago where I can hoop on them and start getting buckets again. If you guys can't tell, this is a shoe I am really excited for. As far as new shoes coming out for 2020, 34 Low just came out, which is exciting, but it's just a 34, and that was probably the best shoe of 2019. The LeBron 18 that's going to be coming out is, in my estimation, is going to be a refined and retooled version of LeBron 17. Not bad, but something that's super max cushion, generally heavier. The Kobe line, we're not sure if they're going to be focusing on Protros, if they're coming out with a new version, and with his untimely passing, I kind of don't even want to think about that. Hopefully you guys feel me. Jordan line usually does something really crazy each year. What we got in the 34 means we can get something totally different for the 35 that could be great in some areas and really bad in others. We just don't know. But the KD13, this is something where we're getting that folding zoom. We're getting that double stack forefoot. We're getting what should be an amazing traction, and I don't think anything's going to come close. Now, we haven't talked about price. It is listed at $160, and generally KDs do come down. If you're waiting for sales, you're going to be able to get this shoe at those 25% off prices for that $120. I can see these going to $100 or even to $80, which you can find the KD12 now, towards Christmas. So even if you are not willing or able to spend $160 right off the bat, $160 is right where that high end of the market lies, where you're getting a max cushion shoe, you're getting a premier athlete, a signature shoe with Kevin Durant. At $160, you're right up there with your Hardens, with your LeBrons, with your Jordans. So I don't think it's overpriced, but it's definitely still expensive. But for the technology that you're getting, I think it's priced right about where it should be. Hopefully Nike can continue to run some of these sales that they've been having recently. They're having a 40% off sale as of the time of this recording and the release of the KD on certain shoes. They just had a 25% off sale for like 3 days, which they had another 25% off sale 2 weeks beforehand. And with our current economic climate, you always want to look at what's important to buy, and having the newest shoes has really dropped on a lot of people's list, and it should. You want to be able to take care of your family, put food on the table, making sure you're taking care of your home, your apartment, wherever you're at. So I can definitely understand 160 is a lot, but for what you're getting, I'm going to say it's going to be worth it. And if the traction is as durable as what the PG3 is, this is definitely something that's going to last you a full season, indoor, outdoor, and I hope kids and everyone can get back to school in life, maybe starting towards the end of the year. If you guys have any questions, please put them down in the comments below. I do try to reach everybody. I will be putting my order in, and hopefully Nike can get it to me as soon as possible. Last year, I did have the first KD review out because I was able to get the shoe a little bit early, so I was thankful for that. And my review held up. It was one of the best shoes of the year. It is the best track cushion I've felt, and it's something that I'm not gonna be able to be first on this one, but hopefully you guys, this video can help you if you're making your decision, and helps you in any way as far as which shoe you should get. Maybe you should be waiting for this one. As always, this is Levi Sneaker Gears. Really appreciate you guys, and I'll come at you later.